At once, Holmes hurried to a carriage. During the journey to Ridlingthorpe Manor, he did not speak at all, but I could see he was very worried. Holmes had known that Hilton Cubitt was in danger, but he had not arrived in time to save his client. At last, we could see a large old house through the trees. This was Ridlingthorpe Manor. As we came near the front door, I saw the tool house and the sundial in the garden. These were the places where Hilton Cubitt had found pictures of dancing men. A carriage was standing outside the front door, and a small man was getting out. This man introduced himself as Inspector Martin of the Norfolk Police. Holmes introduced himself to Inspector Martin. Inspector Martin was very surprised when he heard my friend's name. "But, Mr. Holmes," he said, "the crime was committed only a few hours ago, at 3 o'clock this morning. How did you get here from London so quickly?" "When I left London, I didn't know a crime had been committed," replied Holmes. "I was on my way here to prevent a crime, but I've arrived too late. Now, Inspector Martin, shall we work together on this investigation, or do you want to work alone?" "I'd be very pleased to work with you," replied the inspector. "Good," said Holmes. "Then let's try to find out what happened." At that moment, the doctor, an old white-haired man, came downstairs from Mrs. Cubitt's room. The doctor said the lady was very badly injured, but that she would not die. The bullet which wounded Mrs. Cubitt had gone into her brain. The gun which fired the bullet had been very close to her. Hilton Cubitt had been shot through the heart. A gun had been found lying halfway between the two bodies. 2 shots had been fired from the gun. But we did not know if Mrs. Cubitt had shot her husband first and then shot herself, or if Mr. Cubitt had shot his wife and then killed himself. "Has Mr. Cubitt's body been moved?" asked Holmes. "No," replied the doctor. "We had to move the lady. We couldn't leave her lying injured on the floor." "Who found the body?" "2 of the servants," said the doctor. "Then let's hear their story," said Holmes. The 2 women told their story very clearly. They had been awakened from their sleep by a loud noise. A minute later, they heard another noise. Both women ran downstairs from their rooms. The door of a downstairs room was open, and Mr. Cubitt lay dead on the floor. Near the window, his wife was sitting with her head against the wall. One side of her face was red with blood. The window was shut, and the room was full of smoke and the smell of gunpowder. Immediately, the 2 servants sent for the doctor. When he arrived, they carried Mrs. Cubitt upstairs. The servants did not understand why the crime had been committed. Mr. and Mrs. Cubitt had been in love with each other and had never quarrelled. "Tell me," said Holmes, "when did you first notice the smell of gunpowder?" "When we ran out of our rooms upstairs," replied the women. "Good," said Holmes. "Now let's examine the room downstairs." The picture sequence from the